Hey Skyfarers, and welcome to Aethercast, the Kharadron Overlords channel and podcast. Well, today we've got a slight change in our planned programming. Joining me for tonight's show, we have our Thunderer from Down Under, Mr. Alexander Krohn.
Always happy to be here. Hello.
Always great to have you as well, Krohn. So today we are talking about army lists that have been at lots of different tournaments. All the ones that have basically done really well.
KO have been doing so well right now.
Yeah, the nerf pat is coming.
I think it might be, but until then, we've got this new golden era of Sky Dwarves.
Yeah, and you can, you can tell when an army's maybe a little bit too good when there's lots of different lists doing really well.
Yeah,
because it's almost like it doesn't really matter what you take in some ways. I wouldn't say it's quite that bad that you can just take anything, but
there's a lot of viable options in this book.
Yes,
and some of them are pretty hard counters to most things the opponent's going to throw at them.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of in the chat already, and someone is asking if it's going to be a one-drop bonanza. And no, actually, we've got a good variety of lists because KO has been doing so well. I've had to be selective, so we're not going to look at every list that's done well. We're going to look at every list that's done 5-0, gone 5-0, and then
which is still like
there's still quite a few,
4 or 5 of them.
But luckily they're all slightly different to each other anyway. And then I've been selective, picked a couple of 4-1s that are different to each other and show something different to the 5-0 lists. So that we're not just going, well, this list is the same as the last one, but they've changed an artifact. So yeah,
okay. They're a bit different. They're a bit different.
Yes. Cool. And Jamesy in the chat says, "Show me the Ironclads." Well, there is a list with 2 Ironclads.
Is there?
There is.
Good.
There
good,
is. Good. As long as we have time to get to it, because it's near the end. So news. What news has there been?
We've had Warhammer Fest. Well, we're having Warhammer Fest.
It's all 40k stuff, isn't it?
It's been today. Yeah, lately it's just been 40k stuff. A little Ghost Underworld's Warband and a Feck and Stormcast Warcry, which is cool. But the big reveals I think are coming today. Well, for me today, for you tomorrow. About 8:30 p.m. Australian time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the math to work out when that is in English time.
Yeah.
Probably a really stupid o'clock. Cool. And I guess in other news, lots of other books have released recently. Well, mostly just Seraphon, actually. Seraphon are here and they are very good.
Bonkers.
I don't think we've mentioned them on the show yet, have we?
No, we haven't mentioned them. I mean, I think since last time we had the show, there's been OBR and Soulblight and now Seraphon. Yes, so Seraphon, in some testing my group's done, is a bit too good, possibly, with Cloak being certain list being able to pump out about 50 mortal wounds a turn.
I was about to say, when you said it's been a bit too good, I was going to say, are you playing against that one particular build where they just spam mortal wounds at you?
Yes, basically that's what my group's been using, because it's very efficient. I don't think it's going to make it into tournaments. I don't think that build is going to survive the first FAQ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's interesting because obviously KO are very good at the moment. But there's obviously all these new books coming out, and they mostly, on the whole, appear pretty good as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if how everything shakes out, and actually whether KO are just getting all the hate because we are the first iteration of or one of the first situations of a bit of a power creep in the game.
I mean, have you seen the 60 archer spam Slanesh lists? Those are pretty nasty.
Yeah. So we'll see. Because
there's a lot of big stuff going around.
Max is in the chat and he says he lost a game today, so obviously KO need a bit of a buff.
I mean, we had Australian Masters last weekend, I believe, and well, I mean, I can't give you many insights from that because I was using the old KO book, 40 Thunderers and 2 Ironclads. But Skaven actually did really well. Didn't win, that was Lumineth, but Skaven came second. So I'm pretty sure they need a nerf too. We should nerf Skaven.
Yeah. It's going to be so funny when Skaven eventually get a new book and everyone's just like bringing out all the really old potato models. But there we go.
One day.
Cool. Should we crack on and look at some lists then?
All
right. So the first list is one we don't need to talk about. But I've just put it in here because if someone hasn't watched the previous show, basically to just tell them to go and watch the previous show that we did with Tom. So this is
I
one
should
of the...
do that. I should do that.
Yeah. So I mean, this is I was about to say it's fairly standard list, but actually I don't think there is a standard of lists at the moment.
So
there is a fair bit of variety. This is a KO 1-drop that's in Barak Zilfin, because that's how you help get into a 1-drop, or the easiest way to do it. But yeah, really, if you want to know about Tom's list, the best thing to do is go and watch the show where we discussed it with. But it's there seems to be some archetypes of lists, is what I'd say, is rather than there's like you either have like a big unit of Thunderers and some MSU, a big unit of Thunderers, and then a big unit of melee guys, or 2 big units of melee guys, or then like 3 slightly smaller units, and then ships to move everything.
You've got your shooting, you've got your mixed, and you've got your combat. This is a mixed. You got one ship that does the combat, one ship that does the shooting.
Yeah, but then the mixes come in often in a couple of different ways, because you either then have like another dedicated unit or MSU sort of style, which is what this has, the MSU sort of style. Cool. So
let's get to the first one we can talk about.
Yes. Cool. There is one question in the chat about this, which is why 2 times 3 Endrinriggers and not 6? And I guess the real reason for that is to just have that little bit of extra flexibility to have units that will go out. You can use them as screens a little bit as well. You can use them to go take easy objectives in the beginning of the game to do battle tactics. Go and do things like desecrate their lands as well.
I guess it lets you have one unit that can fight with Brock and one unit that can stick back to possibly heal the frigate. A bit more flexibility. I guess you can't give them both +1 to hit, but they would still get both +1 attack from Brock.
Yeah, and you get slightly more attacks as well because you've got the extra Mizzen Master, as someone pointed out in the chat. So
true.
Sometimes you just need a small unit just to sit somewhere, and sometimes you don't want to have, like, if you've got like a big unit of 9 or 6 Endrinriggers, you don't want that to be the thing that sits there because you need them to be doing something more important. So it's handy to have small units sometimes. Okay, so let's move on and look at a list we should have talked about a while ago, really. So this is a list by a guy called Jake Gunning. He won a tournament called War Under the Mountain in Australia, I believe.
Oh.
Or New Zealand. I think it's somewhere on the bottom half of the planet. So it's 2 drops, 2,000 points exactly, and it's in Barak Zon. So the command trait is rule the skies. His article is honor is everything for the 4+ rally, prosecute wars for haste, and without our ships we are naught for the footnote. So the general is an admiral with Stormcaller. Fair warning, you're going to see Stormcaller a fair bit today.
It's so good.
And you're going to see a lot of admirals as generals, which is probably not surprising. However, not every list has an admiral as a general.
That's
and he,
to me.
Yeah, it's actually quite surprising that not every list does. And he has the aspect of the champion leadership of the Alpha. And then he also has a navigator, because basically the whole list is in 2 battle regiments, so 1 hero in each. So then 3 units of 6 Skywardens, 2 units of 3 Endrinriggers, a gun hauler with Coldbeard's collapsible compartments, and then 2 frigates, one of which would in theory be a flagship, but I don't think he had actually written it on his list, but since they're both identical, it doesn't really matter. And I just want to quickly bring something up in the chat that when we were talking about Tom's list we mentioned the +1 attack from, but obviously it's a Barak Zilfin list, so yeah, right. Quite rightly, as excessive painting pointed out, we don't actually get that in Barak Zilfin, which we did discuss the other week on the show, but yeah, not tonight, obviously off our game. So yeah.
So this is a combat list. This is not a mixed list. This is a combat list. You can fit everything in boats, which is cool. Mm-hmm. I guess 6. Or would you put the 6 Endrinriggers in the gun hauler? I'd almost put the 6 Endrinriggers in the gun hauler. So
that's what the gun hauler's there for. That's why it has the compartments.
Yeah, well, 6 Endrinriggers instead of 6 Skywardens.
I say Endrinriggers or Skywardens. Yeah, I mean it doesn't.
I'd put the really Endrinriggers in because the Endrinriggers you don't necessarily want to be in combat all the time. This way, the frigates can be in combat with the Skywardens, and the gun hauler can basically sit just behind the frigates, giving them a 6-up ward and a ton of healing if they need it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then frigates come in, shoot off the screens with the Skywardens, charge in. 18 Skywardens wreck someone's day.
I think it depends how aggressive you want to be. If you want to be really aggressive, depending on how opponents are deployed, then you could potentially, if you put the Skywardens in the gun hauler and get everything out correctly, you could just fight with everything in the same turn. Because even though the Endrinriggers, the Skywardens, if they're in the gun hauler doesn't have the assault boat ability to fight the start of the combat. To fight first. You basically the way it works is you fight first with the things that got out of the frigate, and then the gun hauler you then pick for the first thing that fights normally. So, yeah.
He's taken honor is everything. So 4-up rally, a 2d6 run, and the double command point on the ships.
Yeah.
Hasn't taken the 3d6 charge, which is a bit interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I think is I don't want to say questionable, but it's maybe a bit more of a matter of personal taste.
I'm not sure what you need the double command on a ship for in a list like this. That's usually to to fly high and then get out afterwards, which is kind of a Thunderer thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you could always just use it for a battle tactic. Get 2 heroes out, fly high, get 2 heroes out of the ship and onto an objective, and there you go.
Yeah.
You've done a nice easy battle tactic. So
with leadership of the Alpha, if he wanted to just double all out defend something. Double redeploy a boat, or redeploy Skywardens into a boat, then double redeploy the boat. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Either way, this is a very hard hitting combat list. that will. Well, I mean, it did ruin people's days.
Yes, it ruined 5 people's days. I think the key thing about this list is also, I should say, units. Whoop.
There it is.
There we go. Yeah, the key thing about this list is it's fairly fragile, which is why it has honor as everything rather than the extra movement, because the extra movement would be quite nice in this list because you obviously want to move forwards and then charge and get into combat.
Yeah.
But with all those squishy balloon boys, having the 4+ rally is helpful. It helps mitigate one of the weaknesses of the list. The other thing is, it'd be interesting to know how he gets on with this list, once people played against it a few times and understand how it works, or against stuff that will sort of outrange it. Cool. So that's that list. I don't know if you have anything else to say about this one, have you, Con?
No, I don't think so. It's just like it does have a lot of you don't see it's got a lot of shooting in it as well, but clearly it wants to charge, but it like 2 frigates and 18 Skywardens. That's still like Skywardens are 3 shots each.
That's still a lot of shots. That's the thing is about melee versions of KO is they have lots of shooting still. It's all relatively short range in this list, obviously, other than the frigates. But it's going to be picking its battles a little bit, because it's going to half move something, maybe multiple things with Stormcaller and the Navigator, and then charging the stuff that it wants to get into combat with.
So, yeah, and 2 drops, which is pretty
respectable. Good. Yeah, it's a lot less than some of the lists we're going to look at.
Okay.
But yeah, cool. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, yeah, it did need the double barrel regiment to do it, but yeah, I mean,
it is.
Well, it's not really the 2 behemoths that's the problem, because to be 2 drops, it's the fact that you got 6 units.
That too, yeah.
That's the main problem. But yeah, because if not, I mean, it could have been 3, but. Right, so next list is Russell Taylor's from the London Open, who we were meant to actually have on the show, but we had to sort of change things around, unfortunately. So this is Barak Zilfin and a 1-drop, 1960 points.
Oh, that's good for a triumph.
Yeah, good for a triumph, which he's gonna be able to make good use of with all these Thunderers, because so he's got an admiral as his general with the X Gunstock command trait, and then a chemist with spell in the bottle, and the aspect of the champion leadership of the alpha. 10 Argonauts as a screen, and 1 unit of 15 Thunderers, 1 unit of 10, and a frigate with the magnificent Omniscope, and then a unit of Endrinriggers with a grapnel launcher, and then an Ironclad with the last word, and that's his flagship, and the Soul Screen Bridge. So, I've had a little bit of a chat with Russell about this, because obviously we were originally going to have on the show and we were sort of chatting about things. And the way that he plays this list, essentially, is that he bridges the Ironclad with a whole bunch of stuff in it, and then gets it out so that he can then use the buffs on them so they can have the extra end, and flies high the frigate and uses without our ships with an ought to then do combat landing, so he can basically get both units of Thunderers in his opponent's face whenever he wants to.
Okay, because that's, I guess, his tournament ruled it that you can bridge and then still move with the boat.
I don't know if they ruled that he could move the boat. They definitely ruled that he could get out. And from what I've heard, that's what we're going to get in the FAQ. That's the rumor. Is the FAQ is you will be able to bridge a boat, but you won't be able to, and you'll be able to get guys out, but you won't be able to move the guys that get out or move the boat afterwards.
I have heard that. I keep hearing that there's, playtesters have the FAQ and they've had it for a while. It hasn't come out yet. I'm thinking they might wait until like all 5 of these books are getting have an FAQ, and they'll just release all of them at the same time instead of KO 1, Slaanesh 1, Khorne 1.
Yeah. It might even be in because we get these quarterly updates, so it might actually go in line with one of those potentially.
Get an FAQ as they
we just had one
nerf us into the ground.
Well,
another thing I've heard is the Thunderers Fumigators all work together. So you have 15 Thunderers, you do 3d3 mortal wounds.
Ooh. Okay.
Which is nuts. Now Thunderers are combat as well. You don't see it, but this is actually a combat army.
Well, so you've heard that's how they're going to rule that in the FAQ?
Yes.
Okay. Because I've had discussions with people about this in the past, and it seems to some people are very sort of along the lines that it should work that way, and then others are very much along the lines that it should be the other way.
I'm more along the lines of you should only have one fumigator, because why are Thunderers a combat unit? But yeah, from what I've heard, mostly from the world stuff, is that Thunderers are going to get to stack their fumigators.
Okay.
And I guess a literal reading of the rules has that.
Well, the literal reading of the rules is a little bit ambiguous, because they could have said any, or they could have said each, and they didn't say either. Which is, it's like, just like choose the word that's clear. But no, it's one of those ones. But Greg in the chat says that's what was in the AO Worlds FAQ that they released last week. Well, a lot of people get that part of AO as well as playtesters, so there's a good chance that that's going to be what we're going to get then.
I believe those FAQs are based off of actual FAQs that are existing in the offices right now.
Well, it's even if it's not off the actual FAQ, there's playtester groups that feed back to Games Workshop, and if they know they fed that back to Games Workshop, this, there's a good chance that Games Workshop will action on it. They obviously don't always, but it's a good chance. So, Con, this is back to this list in more detail. This is not dissimilar to a list that you've ran in the past, but with a lot less heroes
and
lower drops.
Differently, well, a lot less drops. It's one drop, yeah. It I guess it delivers the Thunderers differently, because normally I wouldn't even put in the Frigate. You just have 15 Thunderers and an Ironclad, and then 15 Thunderers on a bridge. And the Ironclad teleports forward, drops guys, and then the bridge gets the other 15 up, and then you have 30 Thunderers in someone's face. Which, yeah, I mean, I guess you could make that list a one drop. You just have to. You wouldn't have 5 heroes as I did. You'd only have 3. Which I think is still okay. I used a code right who I think was pretty lackluster. He's not. I tried. I lent a bit into the Battle Ram and Tuskhelm, but that probably wasn't necessary, and you could have made that a one drop. Similar to this. Take out the Frigate, put in 5 Thunderers, add a Navigator, I think. And then depending how many points you have left, maybe upgrade the unit of 3 Endrinriggers to 6. Yeah. Depends.
So a couple of interesting things about this list. One is that he has 2 units of Thunderers, but he can only really maximum buff one of them, which is just the price you pay to be a one drop, essentially. But you still got a lot of shots there. And another interesting thing is the grapnel launcher on the Endrinriggers, which I think is a really nice touch, because it makes makes a nice, easy battle tactic.
Just teleport, take and desecrate lands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's that. So I mean, it's basically deploy and destroy.
Yeah.
I guess one thing we could talk about with this is, what do you do if you can't destroy? Which is it basically if everything is screened really far back. Because if they're far enough behind their screens, and then when you deploy from sort of 9 inches away, well, 6 inches away, because obviously you get out.
But you still don't. Even the 18 inches isn't enough, which sometimes it isn't. Especially for corner deployments.
Yeah. So what you do then is you basically don't go that close, and you just shoot off the screens from far away. And because they're so far behind their screens, that it basically means that for the most cases, they probably can't get to you.
You just stay 18 inches away from the screens and just shoot with your Sky Cannon and the 18-inch range guns on the Thunderers.
Yeah, because it means they're more than 6 inches behind their screen, potentially. Just to stop most of your guns hitting them. So if you say 18 inches from the front of their screens, they're 6 inches from behind their screens, then that's 24 inches apart, which is a good distance apart.
You just cap enough objectives to take 5 points.
Use the grapnel launcher on the Endrinriggers, and then basically you delay the deploy and destroy.
Just wait until they get into a more favorable position.
Yeah, shoot the screens off, and then then they can't hide behind the screens next turn, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on then to a list by a guy called Timothy Macdivitt at a tournament called Contest of Fools in Australia, I believe. So this is 1990 points and 11 drops. I believe it's Barak Nar. It wasn't listed, but it's got Brock, which you'd like to think would make it Barak Nar, but as we've seen with Tom's list, that's not necessarily always the case. My assumption is it's Barak Nar. So he has an Admiral as his general with Cunning Fleet Master. That's another one you're going to see a lot of. Celestian Burst Grenade, another thing you're going to see a lot of. Leadership of the Alpha, again, something else you're going to see a lot of. And then a Navigator. Endrin Master with Endrin Harness with the Tuskhelm. A Knight Incantor as an ally. And Brock Grunson. Then he has a unit of Arkanauts, 2 units of 6 Endrinriggers. Both of those. Can you put 2 units in Collision Command? I can't remember. No, I can't remember. I might have made a mistake there of copy and paste.
Possibly, I think you only take 1.
You can only put 1 in Collision Command.
Which heroes in Collision Command?
Oh no, what it is that should say Veterans.
Oh, okay.
GB. There we go.
Right.
Okay.
They can fight in 2 ranks. They can ignore their 1-inch range.
Yeah. And both those units also have grapnel launcher, and then he has a gun hauler with the spar torpedo, and 2 frigates. So he has Galician Veterans, Warlord, and Line Breaker. So obviously, all the heroes. This also doesn't make sense. There'd only be 3 heroes in Warlord. I think that was on the list, though, that there was 4, but it doesn't matter. And then Brock Grunson's in Line Breaker with the frigates, which obviously lets you use a command ability without a point being spent or without it being issued.
Yeah, it's like an all-out attack, I think, for Line Breaker. All-out.
Yeah, certain ones.
There are specific ones, but the Line Breaker ones are pretty good specific ones.
Yes, but the most important thing is that if you don't have a hero near your ship, then you can give it those commands. So the ships can issue the KO ones to themselves, but they can't issue anything else like all out attack and all out defense. So this allows them to receive those commands because they don't have to be issued, which is really good. So not only do you save a command point, but it means you don't have to have heroes near your ships.
Yeah,
it's very cool. And then Warlord to get an extra.
I mean, with flagship,
artifact.
you just don't spend command points in the ships. The ships just get whatever they want. They don't spend command points. Interesting cunning fleet master. So the thing that lets you move in your opponent's movement phase if they're outside of 12.
Yes.
Which, yeah, it's. I can see it's good, but it's so easy to turn off. I guess like if your opponent isn't super aware of it, you could do it once, but then they probably like just run a unit next, like anywhere in the vicinity of the ship, and then you turned off.
Well, the thing is, he's got 2 ships. 3 ships if you can include the gun hauler.
They can all move. Everyone gets a move from Cunning Fleet Master.
No, you can only move 1 unit, but it's not even an aura. It's just like on the battlefield. Anywhere. So it's just like any of your ships. So
that gun hauler is probably at least the gun hauler should be always available.
That you'll probably most games get at least 1 or 2 turns where you get to move a ship.
Yeah.
And what you can do with that is if you can move closer, if you want to set yourself up for the next turn.
Yeah.
Where you're
depending
charging.
on what your opponent's doing, I guess. Yeah. But the ship they're going to try and charge is not going to get to run out of that.
Mm-hmm. But it just does so many things because it can deny battle tactics and that's something. You know, they pick desecrate their lands and move something. You go right, okay. Well, I'm just going to move.
Even if they stay, stay 9 inches out. Oh no! If they stay 9 inches out, then yeah.
They have to be more than 12 from you, but you get a whole normal move, not just.
Yeah, you get a proper movement,
not just a redeploy. So it's really good. I like the Knight Incantor as well. I think auto unbind is really good in this in the meta at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably going to become. I'd like to say it become more important with Seraphon coming out of the.
Probably.
But the thing is, they probably just cast all their stuff from so far away that it won't matter.
I don't know about the Tusk Helm. I feel like you could give that to the Navigator as an orb, and then you'd have 2 auto unbinds.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about this list is Tusk Helm is like a nice to have. I see what the Celestial Burst Grenade is really, really helpful.
Oh yeah, against it can certain matchups.
The Tusk Helm is he does have the 3d6 charge. So
it does. It doesn't have an Ironclad with Battle Ram. That would be really cool.
Of course, we haven't had an FAQ about the Tusk Helm and whether that actually works or not. But I'm assuming for the tournament he played in, they ruled that it did, or else he wouldn't have it.
Well, this is an Australian tournament. I think Australian tournaments have kind of just said, yeah, you can.
Yeah, well, they let you use it in your tournament, didn't they?
Yeah. That was the first, so I'm thinking the other one's probably just going to follow that example.
Yeah. That's cool. I really like the Galician Veterans pick. It's not. It's something that I think people sort of overlooked originally, and people were looking at like doing clever stuff with Galician Command and stuff. But the Galician Veterans is a cool pick, and it gets around some of the issues with the Endrinriggers. So when you can get them out of the frigate charges, and then
they can still all fight. It gets over there. It gets past their 1-inch range, which is a bit limiting. But yeah, Galician Veterans is definitely a good pick for Riggers.
I like that.
Guys, so he's giving everything +2 move. Yeah.
+2 move. He's got a run, shoot, and charge on one of them, which could be a 2d6 run.
It's very vulnerable though. Like, but your only infantry is basically what 24 wounds. So you need to be super careful and know that what you're charging will get killed, and then you won't have there won't be some kind of counter attack because it won't take a lot, even in a boat, to take out 6 riggers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm now actually wondering if this is actually Barak Zon, because that would explain having a line breaker more, because you wouldn't have the CPs from Barak Nar, and then those Endrinriggers be even better. Oh, but then you got Brock, so yeah, it probably is
taking
Nar.
Brock and not even taking, not taking his sub faction, not taking Nar, and still taking.
Yeah, it must be Nar, and he's just not written on the list. But I forgot about Brock for a second. Then, to be honest, but yeah, I mean, those riggers with extra attacks, they're going to do a lot of work. And then the thing is, with having the grapnel launcher on them, means that basically, it just means that, even if they're not with the frigate, they can still get somewhere and do some work, which is really good.
Yeah.
So I like that. So a question from the chat is, how did this guy go 5-0 without being a 1-drop? Because anyone could have gone first and killed his heroes. Well, I think the reality is that a lot of lists you play against don't have the ability to go first and just kill all your heroes. Obviously, you play against KO potentially, but that's why you have your 10 Arkanauts.
Because I mean, you put the heroes in a boat with the riggers, and
they can't be shot.
They're next to one inch of the battle line unit. They can't be shot. And honestly, I haven't seen that much sharpshooters in this meta. Like it's. I mean, maybe it's different in other parts of the world, but in Australia, you don't get a lot of sharpshooters.
The other thing is
one who's gonna do it is long range spells, and there aren't that many of them, especially with Seraphon. Seraphon are kind of on the down at the moment. They'll be back when this new book comes, but right now they're not so universal.
The other thing is I haven't actually looked at the data to see if there's a correlation, but I know there's a lot of Voidstone orbs in the list we're talking about today. And obviously this list hasn't got it, but it's got the Incantor, which is basically the same thing. And I think you'll find that the higher drop lists are going to be the ones that have that. Because it just means that when you're that higher drop, you have a little bit of extra protection by having the auto unbind.
Yeah.
So,
but there's not much that can, if you deploy in a corner, take out your heroes in turn 1.
Yeah. The other thing is Master of the Skies means that he can deploy a little bit further away as well.
Yeah. And honestly, if you are high drops, you're probably going to go first anyway. Most of your opponents are going to give you turn 1, so that they basically, to force you to, what they want is you to jump forward, hit their screens, and then get hit by a counter attack. They don't want you to get a double turn, basically. So they'll give you turn 1, screen themselves out pretty well, and well, I mean, for the most part, you just, as we were saying for the last list, hold back, shoot some screens, get your 5 points, give turn.
Yeah. So, I mean, the real question is when your high drops is what do you do? Is having the contingency plans for what do you do turn 1? If you don't, to make sure that you can score easy points. So that's why having things like the grapnel launchers are really useful. Cool. So let's move on. You haven't got anything else about this list to add, have you?
No.
Cool. So next one is a list by Aaron. Sorry, pardon?
That was all the 5-0s?
Yes, that's all the 5-0s.
Okay.
Well, there's technically there's one more, but it's the exact same list as Tom Mawdsley's.
Oh, okay.
And
I mean, great job to all those people. Like 5-0 is still, even with a good book, 5-0 is pretty tough to get.
Yeah, very difficult. So yeah, congratulations to all those guys. Okay, so on to some of the 4-1 lists. So this list is Barak Thryng, by a guy called Aaron Velazquez. Hopefully I pronounced that properly. At Adepticon. So this is the only Barak Thryng list, hence it gets included. Barak Thryng is one better, well, equal with Barak Nar, because there was only one Barak Nar list that's gone 4-1, but the Barak Nar list is Krohn's list, that we talked about 2 shows ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't included your list, Con. Sorry, because we talked about it before.
We've
Again,
been
go and watch it. So yeah, it's interesting to see a Thryng list and dissect it. So it's 1940 points, 11 drops. He has the triumph in his bloodthirsty, his grand strategy is rule the skies, his articles honor is everything. He has trust to your guns for the reroll ones, and then there's no trading with some people for the 3d6 charge. Then he has 2 command entourages. The first one has an admiral, a chemist, and 2 chemists in it. The admiral's the general with X Grunstock as command trained Celestian Burst Grenade. 1 chemist has Spell in the Bottle, and the other chemist has Tunnel Master. Then he has in his other command entourage an Endrin Master with Endrin Harness, and a Navigator and a Rune Lord.
Yeah, there's your priest.
Yeah,
and the Rune Lord's a great pick anyway because of his like innate +2 to the spell.
Yeah. So yeah. So and then he has 2 units of 10 Thunderers. God, I've just made mistakes everywhere on this, haven't I, today? This is what happens when you try and go through 26 different lists and narrow it down to 10. They're not in
battle regiment. Stop doing so well.
Yeah. So, and then, so 2 units of 10 Thunderers with mixed weapons, because that seems to be just how everyone takes them these days. I've seen some people talking about not doing that, but
I mean,
one person, and they're not really doing it. So,
it's not really like even a question anymore between do you take mixed weapons or do you take all rifles? It's do you take all the 18-inch weapons, or do you take the 12-inch weapons in there as well?
Basically,
because you'll now you're taking a cannon, and you're probably taking
if you're not taking a cannon, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Mortar, sure, maybe, but they're still pretty good, especially into as long as the opponent has 5 models in their unit. Just don't shoot them at monsters.
Yeah. The real question is what's everyone going to do with all their spare rifles? For the bit in the bits box. So 2 units of 10 Thunderers, a unit of 6 Endrinriggers. He also has a grapnel on one of those. 2 frigates, one of them the magnificent Omniscope, because let's be honest, all the frigate Endrinriggers are pretty poor, and that does seem to be that most people just go for the extra movement with that. And then he has a Ravanax Gnashing Jaws as his spell.
Cool spell. I mean, it's your best pick for mortal wounds. Like that thing will do a lot of mortal wounds. You don't have any way to offensively deploy it, but you can totally just fly up with in your frigate, and then on the next turn, after you've done some shooting, you just throw a jaws. Oh, but then it'll come back though. That's the only issue, I think. It'll come back, and against your 4-inch movement dwarves, those jaws are going to do a lot. Although the Rune Lord will probably get rid of them. The Rune Lord, they don't cast that high. The Rune Lord can easily unbind the jaws before they come back.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't have the bridge, to be honest. But essentially, this list is going to be using the prayer to buff the Thunderers and then go pew pew pew. He's got Tunnel Master to help get a chemist
It's for
which is that would make more
cunning
sense.
maneuver.
Yeah, it's also really good just to get the chemist somewhere without him being in a boat.
He could even tunnel master out of a boat. He finds a tunnel in the boat and then digs through it and pops up somewhere in the on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Mortal guns are wacky.
I mean, do you think this list would be more interesting if it had the bridge?
I mean, you'd definitely be able to get both the Thunderers within 12 if that was the case. I mean, the boats.
And because he's got Tunnel Master, you wouldn't have to have both lots of Thunderers near each other either, which is normally the drawback of trying to do something techie with the bridge and one of the and a boat and getting two lots of Thunderers in. Is that you've got to get them both near each other because you have the ship transporting the chemist for both units.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, one boat flies high, the other boat.
But the other boat can just move forwards, I guess, because it's got magnificent omniscope and
It doesn't have 2d6 run either. He has 4-up rally, but he's got the reroll 1 dice. So if you have trust your guns, you're rerolling the cannon. That's what you should be doing. The Thunderer cannon specifically. The frigates, they hit on 4s, so probably not. But the Thunderers, when they're hitting on 3s, yes. Rend 2, damage 3, easy.
Yeah.
I mean, and this one is sharpshooters. This one is sharpshooters. So this one will look at a Zinch list and just pick out all the little wizards, and then
sharpshooters is what's meant to be written under those Thunderers where I've put little red lines.
Yeah,
yeah.
Sharpshooters. If you don't care about your drops, sharpshooters is a good pick for Thunderers.
Yeah. Well, he obviously wanted to get the extra artifact. So.
And he got the burst grenade, yeah, and then the spell in a bottle. Okay, with Jaws, and 1940 points, which is really nice for
for
triumphs. Like it's almost guaranteed. But bloodthirsty. So it's reroll a charge. What's charging? It's the frigates and the frigate.
Yeah, the frigate and because you got to get the frigate in, so get the riggers in, Endrin Master in.
If he's got riggers in a frigate, then he can't put both Thunderers in frigates. And now I'm confused again.
There was an issue with people not being able to pick the right spell for a while. And still, even now, I see people asking, how do I get the KO spell that's free? So maybe that's why it is just meant to be the bridge.
Yeah, no, okay, this is a bit strange.
Because the bridge just makes sense then with Tunnel Master.
Yeah.
I mean, Tunnel Master's still really good, but I don't know. It's still cool. It's still cool to see Thryng doing well.
This is technically, despite 20 Thunderers, is still a bit mixed. This is clearly he wants to do some charging with this.
Yeah, it comes back to what I sort of said earlier, which is you can either have like a big unit and some MSU, or 2 big units, or like 3 sort of medium-sized units. Basically, it depends like how you do your reinforcements. You can reinforce. You can reinforce 3 units once. In theory, you could do 4, but you'll never have enough points to do that and get them where you need to. Or you can do 2 units or 1 unit a lot and some MSU. And I like doing 3 units because you've got 3 threats then. 3 things for your opponent to think about. Someone in the chat said, I believe his frigates had skyhooks as well. I might have missed that.
Oh. That'd be an interesting. I mean, it depends how many monsters you think you're going to see. Because against monsters, skyhooks are definitely like the superior choice.
Are
Skyhawks 2 shots or 1 shot? Are they 2 shots?
2. I feel like there's a difference between the Skyhook on the Ironclad and the Frigate. It's better on the Ironclad, but I think it's because on the Ironclad it's better. I'm just trying to bring up his list to make sure I got it right. In the spells, yeah, definitely Ravenak's Nash and Jaws, but he might have just picked the wrong one on the list.
It might be Jaws.
Yeah, definitely had Skyhooks.
Frigates have grapnel launchers, so maybe they're teleporting.
Yeah, could be. Then you put both frigates. Yeah, you could make an argument you don't need the. And that's why you have Bloodthirsty. Because
Skyhawk is 2
that's
shots.
why you have Bloodthirsty, because they're 9 inches away and you need to reroll that charge.
And it's a 3d6 charge, yeah.
Can you use it on a unit that isn't a ship?
No trading with some people?
I just because everyone just uses it on ships, but
yeah.
I guess can you just
hang on? What is it? It's a where are these these things in the app?
They are in Kharadron Overlords,
battle
traits, and then they're not in the right order, which is really annoying.
Once a battle, in your charge phase, you can attempt a charge with one friendly Kharadron Overlords unit within 18 of an enemy unit. If you do so, roll 36. Yeah, you could totally just
do it.
Riggers.
So Riggers not in a boat is actually better than I sort of thought about.
Teleport over 9 inches away, then they charge and hit something, I guess.
Yep.
And while the Thunderers are busy doing their cleanup.
Yeah, you can still only get 1 unit of Thunderers out of the boat, though.
And those Thunderers are doing, 2d3 mortal wounds.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can still only get 1 lot of Thunderers out of the boat after the ship's moved.
Yeah. Also, yeah, this heavy Skyhawk is 2 shots. So against monsters, you could get 12 damage off, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, I think it's just it hits on a 3 on the Ironclad, which makes it so much better.
But naturally, does it?
Yeah. Not that I've seen anyone using the Skyhook on the Ironclad, though.
It also hits on a 4 on the Ironclad.
What's the difference? And there was definitely a difference.
The Ironclad. Oh, okay. 4s, 3s, 2 shots. The Ironclad. So the Frigate wounds on a 3, the Ironclad wounds on a 2.
That's the wounds roll, not the hit roll. There we go.
There's the
I knew there was something. Okay.
There is a slight difference between the Great Skyhawk and the Heavy Skyhawk, which is good.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else to add about this list, Krohn?
Yeah, it's different, which is cool.
Yeah.
And it's Thryng, so that automatically instantly makes it different.
Yeah. I think personally, I would have the bridge. So you could bridge 1 boat, get the Thunderers out, or just bridge a unit of Thunderers, and then do the. Yeah, potentially. And then move the other boat with Magnificent Omniscope. Then use combat landing to get the other Thunderers out. You can tunnel master 1 chemist to be with 1 lot, and then the one where you use combat landing will have the admiral on the other chemist.
We can't fly high in combat landing.
No, he can't fly high. That's why you have to do it with the boat that has Magnificent Omniscope.
But I guess
you potentially run and shoot with it as well.
Yeah, you run and shoot the boat.
Thunderers wouldn't be able to run and shoot.
No, they could if they got out.
No, they still count as having ran. but they don't get the run and shoot because it's only the boat that gets to run and shoot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But you got an extra 2-inch movement with the ship there anyway, so it's going to move. It's still far faster than the Thunderers move on their own.
Yeah.
So pretty good. But there's no trading with some people for the riggers. Because if not, they're going to grapnel launcher somewhere and be trying to make a 9-inch charge.
Yeah. Which on 2d6 is, even with a reroll, is a bit dicey.
To be honest, even a 3d6 charge with a reroll is dicey. I really need a 9.
For 9, that's you got about the same odds as getting like a 7-inch charge on 2d6.
Yeah, just trust me, you can fail it because I have. Yeah, not that I'm bitter at all, but
I've seen triple ones before. Not. I didn't roll them. The Kragnos player rolled them, but I've seen triple ones before.
Yeah, but no, it's surprising how often people, even with a reroll, will fail a 3d6 charge from 9 inches away.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then to a list by Patrick Carter, who we've had on the show in the past. So anyone new to KO that doesn't know, Patrick has previously won a tournament with KO in the past, so he's got good pedigree with the little stunty dwarfs. He knows his stuff.
Oh yeah, and Contest of Fools, so it's in the same tournament that the last one was at.
Yes, not the last one, but the one before last.
Yeah.
Because I haven't put them next to each other. But there was a lot of interesting lists at Contest of Fools. We've got another one coming up as well. So this is Urbaz, 1980 points and 3 drops.
Urbaz, I know what this is. I like this.
Yeah, so Urbaz lets you have 2 articles. So he has Honor is Everything and Settle the Grudges. So he has the 4+ rally and the buff to wound, so that's cool. Trust your guns, so he's got buff to wound and a buff to a hit roll. And without our ships we're 0, so he can do 2 footnotes. The interesting thing about this list is he has an Endrinmaster with dirigible suit as his general, which I found interesting.
And he gave it the Celestin Burst Grenade, which you don't think you can take on anything but admirals, but in fact you can. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, in my previous list I've played, I actually gave it to the dirigible suit as well, but that was more just to spread the buffs around. So he has X Grand stock, so he can make his Thunderers battle line because he's not Barak Nar, so he wants to make the Thunderers battle line. And he has leadership with the Alpha on the Endrinmaster dirigible suit as well. He has a Chemist and a Code Right. Yep. And then he has 1 unit of 10 Thunderers, 1 unit of 9 Endrinriggers, which have guns.
Oh, yeah. Of course they would. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I know what this list is trying to do.
Right, and then he has 3 gun haulers because they're battle line in Barak Urbaz. And an Ironclad with the body cannon. So everything pretty much is in the battle regiment except.
Wait, what's in Galician Command, and is it the 9?
Well, it'll be the riggers. It's probably just me. That's probably just my mistake.
So
it's got to be the riggers.
The Endrinmaster can pick to fight first, and then the riggers will fight after him immediately.
Yes.
If without they get combat, which he isn't trying to do, this is an invincible Ironclad list. It's Ironclad with a bunch of healing on it and a 6-up ward save. Just teleports in the vicinity of the opponent and shoots them a bunch while the gun haulers provide a screen to stop it from getting charged. Shoots a bunch, gets shot back, heals up. If it does get charged, then the Endrinmaster and the riggers will fight him. But other than that, it's just gonna survive, because unless you kill all 20 wounds in a single round, it's just gonna heal back up. Because the Endling Master he can re-roll the Riggers' healing rolls with a command point.
I think so.
Doesn't he have that like I've got my eye on you command ability?
Yes, I mean, and to be honest, I keep forgetting because they've made them both different, which is annoying.
Yeah, only one of them has it, and yeah, it's the
so that I always
guy. Oh no,
it's
it
like the
doesn't
gun
re-roll.
butts
It
where you
adds
can't remember
1.
which way around is the 4+ and the 5+, but
It adds 1 to it. So they're healing on a 3 and double healing on a 5.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 9 of them, so you're rolling 9 dice. Plus the Endling Master just heals 3 by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Does he roll 3? Yeah, he just heals 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he can heal 3 even though the boat and him, even if both of them are in combat, he can still heal 3 to the boat.
Yeah, which the Riggers can't.
Yeah. And the gun holders give it a 6-up ward. Yeah, the boat will basically just exist in a spot and go. Okay, what are you going to do about this?
Yeah, the gun haulers are really. They're a surprisingly good screen because you got to do a lot of wounds to remove that screen out the way. It's not like you could do like eight wounds and then two of them, the last 2 models run away or something, or you just it makes a big gap. You got to do 10 wounds to get completely through it.
And 3 of them will actually be able to give you enough like stuff.
Yeah, you put 1 in front, 1 either side, and yeah, it's really good.
30 wounds and a 3-up.
Yeah, because gun haulers have a 3-up now. I've also noticed a little typo: gunner hauler, gun a hauler. Cool. Yeah, that's an interesting list. We've seen there were quite a few people that have been going Urbaz to get both
honors everything,
and set the grudges, but this one is quite unique in what it's trying to do.
Yeah, for sure. I super love this list. I mean,
cool.
Eventually something will punch through, and we'll be able. There are things in the game that can do 20 wounds in a single turn. But
the other interesting thing about this, Krohn, is the gun haulers can all move 18 inches in the same turn. Because they all have a once per game 18-inch move, so that's a mobile screen as well. Because I mean, people used to do a similar thing with KO a few years back, where they'd play multiple gun haulers and an Ironclad and a couple of frigates, and they just have all of them in like this big bear claw for like formation, because they could all fly high, but they can't all fly high now. But the gun haulers don't need to potentially, so they just move 18 inches, and then the Ironclad can still sit behind them when it pushes forwards.
The Ironclad can teleport, and the gun haulers can still follow it around.
Yeah,
as long as you don't teleport literally outside of the board.
Yeah, and then they can spread out when they need to as well.
And they give a 6-up ward save, and I love it.
Cool. Yeah, this is an interesting list. It did lose to a KO list.
Yeah.
As well, which is interesting.
Probably
so
was able to shoot the Ironclad out in a single round.
Yes, because screens don't matter quite so much when you're just shooting, rather than trying to charge through them. But yeah, it was interesting to see a mirror match there. Cool. I can't remember who we played against. It might have been against Timothy, because he went 5-0. I think they were on table 1 for the.
Table 1 was a win. KO off.
I think so. I can't remember. Anyway, let's move on to another contest of Fools list.
I just got
Chris Welfare.
Head off for a second.
No problem.
Give me a second.
Okay, so while Quan is gone, I'm just going to quickly rattle through this list then. So it's 1985 points, 14 drops, so the highest number of drops out of all of the lists we've got. 102 wounds. The grand strategy is Prospector Fleet, a Settle the Grudges for the rally. prosecute wars with all haste, and there's no reward without risk. His general is an Endrin Master with Endrin Harness. Then he has Cunning Fleet Master. Then he has another Endrin Master with Endrin Harness with the Mag Bowler's artifact, which is something that lets you ruin someone's day when they're trying to charge. Brock Grunson, a Navigator with the Voidstone Orb. A Code Right with the aspect of the champion fueled by Garish Rage. And then another Endrin Master of Endrin Harness with the aspect of the champion leadership of the Alpha. So you notice he's got two aspects of the champion. So that's because he's got Warlord battalions and he's used one of them to get an extra aspect of the champion. And then he's got 5 units of 3 Endrinriggers, all with swords and pistols. So MSU there, and 2 frigates, one with the Omniscope. Double Warlord. That's how he's managed to get the extra artifact and the extra aspect of the champion. So it's basically this MSU list, which works well with the frigates, really, because they're all going to get extra attacks from Brock when the frigates charge in, and the fact that it's MSU means that he's more flexible when they all get out of the boat, and it doesn't matter that they're multiple units because they're all going to be fighting at the start of the combat phase. Pretty cool. What else? The Mag Bowlers is interesting to basically help keep everything alive, protect yourself from the counter charge. Voidstone Orb is pretty much a necessity because it's 14 drops. Fueled by Garage Range is interesting on the Code Right. It's a common pick to make heroes more survivable, and the Code Right is squishy. But I'm not sure the Code Right is massively necessary in this list because it's Barak Nar.
Have returned. What are we?
Welcome back, Krohn. So I've just been going through the list.
Chris Welfare's list. Oh my god.
MSU, basically.
This is such MSU. 14 drops, first of all. So he's not getting to choose who goes first or second. Ever. No. But 9 packs of Endrinriggers. I mean, it's just 3 squads of 6. But
in MSU, because when you're in the frigate, it doesn't matter because you get more flexibility when you get out then because you can put 3 on one side, 3 on the other.
And this is Barak Nar with Brock, so you do get
extra attacks on all of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Again, Contest of Fools. Man, I should have gone with this thing because there's so much KO.
Not as much KO as one of the other tournaments. Let me tell you a little story about Grand Clash in Canadacon, where there were 7 KO lists that went 4-1.
Wow, just that 7. Went 4-1.
7.
Like, there could be.
There was more. Yeah, there's more KO lists. That was just the ones that went 4-1.
Wow.
But
you don't normally see any faction have 7. Like 7 in the whole tournament.
To be fair, it was a big event. Nearly, I want to say 167 players, maybe more.
Okay, that's pretty big. Still, though, 7. You could have done an entire list just on that one tournament.
Oh yeah, could have done a whole show just the tournament just on those lists. This is why I had to cut them down to just to 10. So the interesting thing about this list is the Endrin Master as a general
again. Oh no! This time it's an Endrin harness, not a dirigible.
Yes, it's not a dirigible suit this time.
He has 3 Endrin masters with Endrin harnesses, and one of them has a Mag Bowler.
Yeah,
and the Code Right has like the come back to life trait.
Mm-hmm.
Why the Code Right? Does he need to live?
Well, he's squishy.
I mean, sure, but
I guess maybe he wants to get the extra not article amendment. Because I don't think he really needs a CP because he's in Barak Nar.
Definitely not, because Barak Nar. I guess you just really, really want that other amendment. Sure. Mag Bowler for D6 charge.
Yeah, Mag Bowlers combined with Cunning Fleet Master is interesting, to be fair. And yeah.
Cunning Fleet Master. True.
Yeah, Cunning Fleet Master and Leadership of the Alpha. So potentially he could do like the Army one. Oh, there's a typo there as well.
Wait, he has Leadership of the Alpha. He has both. He has Leadership of Stage and Leadership of the Alpha.
Yes, because of Warlord.
What is this list? Voidstorm Orb, that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, you need that when your 14 drops, just in case, because they're going to be casting spells at you potentially. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that will just go all over the board later in the game. Like, it's going to charge in, do a whole load of damage, because
later in the game, all the riggers just
spread
disperse
out,
and just go, I have the board now.
And because it's not just the riggers, it's 3 Endrin Masters and Brock as well.
Yeah.
All with +1 attack. Like, this is a big like melee bomb that's going to go into 2 different things, spread out as well. Because actually, all these 3 units, he could spread out when he does the charge, and then pile them all in clever little ways, just tie loads of stuff up, and there's nothing in your opponent's army will be able to move until they dealt with everything.
Brock can give both ships run and charge. And does he have a range on that? Is Brock's one? Isn't Brock's one like a board wide thing?
I don't think it's not board wide, but because he is a War Master, he gets 18 inches on it.
Yeah, true.
So it's far. But no, this is an interesting list.
It'll do a lot of combat
get extra
damage.
CPs. Like, yeah, is the code right? I'm not so sure about why he needs code right.
I think you need it. You could probably have taken. Then what else would you take? Like a fourth Endrin Master?
Fourth Endrin Master. Why not? Just
if you don't kill these boats in combat, like, again, they're just going to heal up because look at all the healing this has. Endrin Masters don't need you to be out of combat. Endrin Masters will heal those boats regardless.
Yeah, because he wouldn't be able to afford to have an admiral instead of the code, right? There's no point taking a chemist because there's nothing really that you wants to get out of the boat to be buffed because it all wants to be in the boat for when the boat charges.
You could probably just take a fourth Endrin Master, really. I think it would do more than the code right, unless you really want, like, why do you want to have the second, like, 3d6 charge? Yes, but why do you need a boat to have 2 orders?
I guess it's just the footnote as well. He gets to change his footnote, so once he's done the 3d6 charge, he can have fly high and get out in the same turn.
Yeah, but why?
For battle tactics and stuff.
I guess so. I do like that all the heroes would get +1 attack. It's 4 attack Endrin Masters.
Yeah, because changing your footnote is good. Because once you've done that 3d6 charge, then you get to do, because you can do a lot of stuff without our ships we're not. Because potentially he can change his footnote, and he can then Cunning Fleet Master 1 ship, double redeploy because they have Leadership of the Alpha, double redeploy the other ship, and then use Mag Bowlers.
Yeah.
Because, so if they manage to charge, he can make it very difficult for people to charge him. Yeah, if they manage to charge and don't kill the ships or stuff, then they're just going to heal the ships back up.
Yeah. So it's got all the movement it needs.
It's quite techy. I like this. This is interesting. But it's more interesting than I realized when I chose it to put it in. I was just like, okay, there's an MSU.
You just saw the 6 units of Endrinriggers and were like, sure.
Yeah, and the general. I was like, well, this is different. Let's go for one. But no, it's quite techie. I like it.
It's the Australian meta. We're like 3 steps ahead.
Yeah, but everything's you live in the upside down, don't you? So you're on the
but like we play the game so differently from what I've heard.
Because you're like on the bottom of the planet, like
everything's upside down.
All the blood is just rushing to your head, because you're all upside down.
We also read the books upside down, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. So we just kind of put stuff in.
Yeah, everything that's 90 points is 60 points in because it's
super easy.
Because it's barely an inconvenience. Cool. Anyway, I like this list. Let's move on to a list from Grand Clash, which we mentioned earlier. So this is Barak Zon, 2,000 points, 12 drops. So doesn't have a triumph because he won't get it. Grand strategy is rule the skies. He has master the skies to help him rule the skies for the extra movement on the boats. Prosecute wars for haste, so even more movement on the boats potentially. And there's an overreward without risk because those boats just aren't fast enough. You need to then also give them 3d6 charge. So we're back to having admirals as a general. We're back in the safe zone, Krohn. It's fine.
Okay. And Stormcaller. We got Stormcaller.
We got Stormcaller back. Stormcaller's back, and Burst Grenade, and Leadership of the Alpha, because they're all really good. Then he has a Navigator with Voidstone Orb, because that's really good. And then a Chemist, and an Endrin Master of Endrin Harnessed. All those heroes, except for the Endrin Master, are in Command Entourage. The Endrin Master's in Linebreaker.
Chemist, but
okay. Then he has a unit of 6 Endrinriggers, 4 units of 3 Endrinriggers, 2 of which are in Gleason Sharpshooters, and the 6 are in Gleason Sharpshooters. The other 2 are in Gleason Veterans. Then he has 3 frigates.
3 frigates, yeah. All in Linebreaker.
All in Linebreaker, one with the Omniscope. Yeah. And those are cool plans. This is similar to the previous list, but different because it's 3 frigates.
It's still basically 3 units of 6 riggers, but there's 3 boats now. I think the sharpshooters and stuff that's there because he's basically gone. Okay, so I can't be 1 or 2 drop, so I'm just going to be a million drop because it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So why not? Let's give them all the buffs. Let's make them veterans. Let's make them sharpshooters, because why not? It'll come up maybe eventually at one point. Yeah, that's fine. So 3 boats. So he's got 6 riggers per boat.
Yeah, basically.
And then an admiral in one, a navigator, Endrin Master in the other, and then the third one can have the navigator and chemist maybe.
I guess the chemist will buff the 6 Endrinriggers.
To what? Shoot something?
Yeah. They have -2 Ren, so they get to -3.
Yeah.
That's not insignificant. Just take out a little 5 wound hero or something. Because the trouble is their wound on 4s is the issue.
And he can't make a wound on 3s because there's no triumph here. No. But yeah, I mean, still, it's with 6 that'd be 18 shots. Weapon again 3, so it'll kill a 5 wound hero for sure.
Into a lot of damage or something. Because the chemist can buff himself, so the chemist could put himself to -3 rend.
True. He's 12-inch range now, isn't he?
No.
Isn't he?
No.
Oh.
Please don't tell me he is, because that means I've just been playing it wrong. But
no, he's 9-inch range. Okay.
I was going to say that would be a big deal that I would know about. I'm sure.
His ability is 12 inches.
The ability is 12 inches. Yeah, that makes sense. Although it doesn't make sense, his ability goes further than the gun, but
yeah, it used to be 9 and 9, didn't it? Or yeah,
I can't remember, to be honest. The range on the ability. No, what I like about this list is the Gleason veterans. I know it's similar to what we had before, but different. Because what we had before, we had that in bigger units, so it's just about those
yeah. I
like
feel
getting
like
it.
in units of 3, it's not necessary.
No, but it is, Con, because they're all in frigates, yeah.
Yeah,
So you have one sharpshooters unit and one veterans unit in a frigate,
yeah.
and then the other two of each in the frigate. So what you can do is you get the ones with sharpshooters out in front, and then you get the ones with the veterans behind.
Does that work if they're in 2 different squads?
Oh no, they're two different squads. No, that doesn't help at all. I'm just thinking that they have extra range, but they don't. They have to
I,
fight.
I think
Oh,
this
but
is another
you can do
example.
something techie with them by having like one at the front and then two behind.
I think this is another example of I have a million drops, so what can I put them in?
Yeah,
Sure, veterans. Why not?
yeah.
Because what else are you going to do with them?
Don't know.
It's
Vanguard.
either then because don't you need a hero for that?
No.
It's well either they're in no battalion or they're in this battalion that probably doesn't do anything but it's still a battalion. So why not? I think that's just a
Yeah.
no better option. Like at least it does something, which is better than nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like within getting out the boat, Gleason veterans could be helpful.
Yeah, but when it's only 3 of them.
Yeah, but then there's only 3, but there's other stuff getting out the boat as well that you need to get in. So you can, you can get one guy in range and then get the other 2 sort of behind him, and then another unit in front of front.
Yeah.
Endrin Master of Endrin Harness on one side, and it helps, I guess, getting them all in.
Probably.
Also, when you do like something clever where you pile in 3 inches to then tag a unit you didn't charge, you don't have to get them all in range of that
Yeah.
one.
Just one of them needs to be in range. The other 2 can kind of fight behind him.
Yeah. Which so you
It
can do some techie things
do
with that.
certain things.
Yeah. I think it's more.
I'd almost put the 6 riggers. Oh,
Oh,
you've gone dark.
there we go.
Oh, yeah, you're back. I would
I think
almost
my
put the
foot
6
is
riggers.
on
Yeah. Put the 6 riggers in the veterans and put 3 units of 3 in the sharpshooters.
Yeah, I think he just wanted. I guess he just valued the sharpshooters more.
Yeah.
Especially if he's going to chemist buff them.
Or honestly, you could have probably just, I don't know, Warlord Battalion instead. That might have been better. One of those, like, take out the veterans. You take Warlord Battalion so you can have an extra CP once per game, which is nice. And then that one unit of 3 riggers, yeah, they're kind of screwed, but whatever. It's 3 riggers. They don't need them. You don't need not everyone needs a battalion.
No, that's true. Yeah, I don't think this one's quite as techy as the previous one, but I like the fact that he's got 3 frigates. That's pretty cool.
It means he can split up, basically. He's got 3 task forces that can all do things around the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean the main difference between this one and the other Barak Zon list we had earlier, Jake's, is by dropping a frigate and making it a gun hauler, you save some points and you still get you still move the same amount of guys around. Basically,
yeah.
That's one of the things. But I mean, frigate is better than a gun hauler, so there is that. Okay, so
There's a lot of mortal wounds in the charge if they all charge.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, 24 dice, and every 4 up is a mortal wound.
Yeah, it's a lot more wounds. Let's move on then. So I haven't labeled these. So I think this is the 9th list. Okay, so we're getting it in. So this is double Ironclad. James West.
There it is. Double Ironclad.
An event called Smash and Bash. So it had to be included just for the reminiscing of the double the double Ironclads. But it's 1 drop. Wait, no, it's not. What's going on here?
That's not 1 drop. It's got everything.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't update that. Maybe that's a copy paste error.
11 drops. You just forgot a 1.
Oh, maybe that could be. Oh well, I don't know. I would have missed the S. I think it's just where I copy pasted and then not updated that. There was 26 lists I was looking through, and I started typing them all up, thinking I'll type them all up, then I'll choose between them. And which was a mistake because I didn't. I lost the will to live when I got to the event that had 7 KO lists in it. I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Okay. So there's another typo there as well. Look, this is terrible. So he has Indomitable for his Triumph. How many points is this?
2,000. He's just.
No, but is it?
Oh,
are you just like because if I got the drops wrong, then that's probably wrong. So 1, 2, 5 plus 5 plus.
I took a list that was 2,000 points and
this is 2,000 points.
It's how many points?
It is 2,000 points, so he doesn't get the triumph anyway. Doesn't matter.
It's just because you can, I guess. There's no reason to. You just do though.
Interesting thing about this one is he has Master the Skies and Set the Grudges rather than Honors Everything and Set the Grudges. So he's gone for the movement. But the Ironclads are slow, so I could see why he'd go for that.
In this?
He has Trust Your Guns, which kind of makes sense when you've got 2 Ironclads because you've got a lot of cannon shots that could be hitting.
Since he gave them cannons.
I use the cannons. I like the cannons.
The volley gun cannons are still statistically better.
Well, it depends what you're shooting at, but and how well you roll for your number of attacks.
Well, look, I'm. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's rolling random attacks. Like my average on 46 is 16, which is the normal average is like 14.
Yeah. Okay. So you roll hot on them, basically.
I'm going to Overwatch. 20 shots.
Okay. So here's an Admiral as his General, who's in Galician Command. He has Stormcaller, Celestial Burst Grenade, fueled by Garish Rays to keep him alive. Navigator, Voidstone Orb, because he is lots of drops. And 2 Endrinmasters with Endrin Harnesses, so 1 in each boat, I guess, so we can heal
they've both got healing, yeah.
Yeah. 2 units of 10 Arcanauts, which are Galician Sharpshooters, because he's lots of drops, so why not? A Gunner Hauler, because I copy and pasted the same typo from earlier. 2 units of 3 Endrinriggers.
Endrinriggers, 1 per boat, yeah.
1 which is in Galician Command to go with the Admiral, and 1 which is in Sharpshooters, because you need, finish off that Sharpshooters. And then, 1 of the Ironclads has the Battle Ram. There's Galician Command, Galician Sharpshooters, and Warlord.
You got 10 Arcos and 3 Riggers and an Endrin Master per Ironclad. And the Gun Hauler, I mean, technically, if the Gun Hauler, goes sidewards, the Ironclads can be still a bit apart and have and both have that 6-up ward save.
Yeah.
Although it could just follow 1 around.
Mm-hmm. Or just go off and grab an objective.
Yeah. He's being aggressive with that battle ram instead of the last word.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, seeing 2 Ironclads, that's
I guess
nice.
The one with the battle ram has the Admiral and the Galician Command Endrinriggers in.
Probably, yeah. So that's your
So you charge in, do a bunch of mortal wounds with your 3d6 charge with the battle round, which is a nice combo. And then you fight with your admiral, and then you also then fight with the riggers afterwards. Which, I mean, I know it's only 4 attacks from the riggers and only 3 attacks from the admiral, but there's good rend on all of them, good damage on all of them. You know, so you'll finish off the thing you charge probably.
Ironclads just cost so many points. You just don't have a lot
in
them, like aside from them.
Someone in the chat has said, "Drop the suit," which I assume is Endrinriggers. Don't know. Drop the suit. Anyway, drop the suit and make the Arcanauts Thunderers in. I guess that's type enemies in Barak Nar. Drop the suit. Don't know what it means by drop the suit. Because there isn't an dirigible suit. They're both Endrinmaster and Endrin harnesses.
Not sure.
You can't drop a hero because you need. Well, it depends if you want Galician Command or not, but there isn't a dirigible suit. But there isn't a dirigible suit. They're Endrinmasters on foot. Let's see who's talking about a previous list.
All right. Well, either way, 2 Ironclads is a pretty big, like, bulkhead of just like that does a lot of damage still. Double Ironclad was the thing last book, and it still does. Like, the Ironclads haven't changed much. It still does a lot of work.
Yeah, I think the main thing is you don't have the mobility you used to with Ironclads. But with Master of the Skies, they're a little bit faster.
And you don't have the 20 Arcanaut murder bomb that they used to be.
Well, Krohn, I don't have it prepped, but there is a list that has 20 Arcanauts.
Can you do what you used to do with them, though?
Not to be honest, I think it was just to use points. They had like 9 riggers, 15 Thunderers, and then 20 Arcanauts. It's rather than have 2 units of 10, it's just 1 unit of 20. There was still just a screen.
You needed the rerolls to hit, the reroll ones to wound, the +1 to hit and wound, +2 rend. Then they did a lot. You can't do that anymore.
The other thing is that is overlooked and why they're not as good as they used to be is when you get out now, you only get out with wholly within 3, not within 6. Well. So when you get out, when you're 9 inches away and then you get them out, their ability to shoot past a screen is massively diminished now.
And they can't move after either.
No.
So there's no way to get them within 3 inches of the enemy screen. And you can't drop the sun, so you're not getting... Well, you can still get +2 rend, I guess, now, but...
Yeah, you still can take the sun as well. The sun's free now.
Yeah.
There are people taking the sun. There's 4-1 lists that have the sun in it. Gone. I just haven't got any to show anyone. But no, it's nice to see people taking double Ironclad still, though.
Yeah, and doing well with them.
Yep. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, last list.
Final list.
Last list is another Grand Clash one. Gabriel Samson. It's a Barak Urbaz list. It's 4 drops, 2,000 points, and 133 wounds, which I haven't been saying how many wounds they are, but this is the one with the most wounds out of all the ones we looked at so far.
Okay.
For 133 wounds is quite a lot for a KO list. They normally average about between 105 and 115.
Yeah.
The lower end of the spectrum gets into 90s, maybe.
Very low 100s.
Yeah. So this is quite high. Anyway, so he basically is 4 drops because he's got a battle regiment and a warlord battalion. So he has Arcanaut Admiral as his general, with ex-Grand Stock and leadership of the Alpha. That's in the battle regiment. And then in the warlord, he has an Aethic rather than an Aetheric Navigator, because I made a typo. Oh no, wait, that's in the battle regiment as well. Sorry, with Voidstone Orb. A chemist, 3 chemists with more typos. all in Warlord. So 3 chemists, Krohn. 3 chemists.
Yeah, 3 chemists, but why? For what purpose?
One has spell in a bottle, so he has a purpose. 2 units of 10 Thunderers. And 2 units of Arcanauts. The Arcanauts are in the Warlord battalion, and then one of them is anyway, and then the Thunderers and stuff are in the Bat Regiment. Then a unit of 6 Endrinriggers with swords and pistols, a frigate, which is the flagship and has magnificent omniscope, and the Saltgreen Bridge.
So 10 Thunders in the frigate, 10 Thunders on the bridge. You can buff both of them with +1 rend. One of them can be buffed with +2 rend. And then the third chemist, buffs the Arcanauts, maybe. 4 drops, not so bad. It's still a lot as drops go.
I'm not entirely sure why he's got 3 chemists, to be honest. But
you could definitely make one. Oh no, the chemists are the cheap. You couldn't actually replace that third chemist with anything else.
Yes, but you don't.
You have 80, so you're at 19, 20 points, and you have 80 points left. What are you doing?
Get an extra triumph. Get a triumph so you can have +1 to wound on your Thunderers.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, it's a good point.
You can't even get a Rune Lord, can you? They're 100 points.
No, it's literally not much you can do there. Get some Aether wings.
Yeah.
But okay, that makes more sense now if it's 2,000 points. So yeah, the interesting thing about this list is if you bridge, because he's only got 1 boat.
Yeah.
So if you fly high the boat and combat land, which you can't do because there's no rewards without risk. Well, let me just double check I haven't got this wrong. And clash. Yeah, definitely there's no reward without risk, which is interesting.
This also doesn't have 4 out of 4 reinforcements. It only has 3 reinforcements.
Okay, that doesn't make any difference to anything. But the main thing is you can't. Well, you can say the frigate's got magnificent omniscopes. You move it forwards, do combat landing, get 10 Thunderers out, and an Admiral and a Chemist.
Yeah.
But that means the ones that you bridge, the Thunderers you bridge, don't have a Chemist to buff them.
No. Or I mean, same with all these lists. They put in you put 2 chemists in that boat, and 2 chemists get out, and then
but then you're not getting the Admiral buff or leadership of the Alpha. So you either buff both chemists. You either give 2 units of Thunderers +1 rend, or you give 1 unit +2 rend.
Why?
But then what are you doing with the third chemist? Nothing really.
No. Why I mean, you can still because all the buffs happen in the shooting phase. So a chemist and admiral buff 1 unit 10 thunders, and a chemist buffs the other unit 10 thunders.
But there's only 12 capacity in a frigate, so 10.
Oh, yeah.
10 thunders, and
then the admiral, and then 1 chemist, and then you should almost give one of the chemists a tunnel master instead.
Or the admiral.
Yeah, or the admiral. Just give him tunnel master. Okay. I mean, it went 4-1.
It went 4-1, and out of all of those 7 KO lists at Grand Clash that went 4-1, it finished the highest. So it scored the most points.
Sure.
And it's 4-1s.
So
that's that.
Basically, our book is very good right now, and a lot of stuff can go 4-1.
I mean, it's got 20 Thunderers in it. And a bridge.
And they rally on 4s. So, you
and
they've got
+1. One of them's got +1 to wound. So
yeah. Thunderers rallying on 4s is a little bit oppressive. And there's just so many wounds on a 3-up save. We're in a very good space right now. I think there will be a nerf bat eventually. I mean, you see an honest wargamer, like he puts KO front and center, like every video basically going, KO have won this, KO have won that.
Yeah.
KO winning everything in the world. And I think the stats will, like, even on Warhammer Community, the stats will reflect that. I think we're hitting the 60% win rate, which is not where they want a book to be.
Mm-hmm.
But while it lasts, this is the golden age of airships, of Zeppelins.
Yeah, I mean,
so let's have fun before we get a Hindenburg.
Summary: it is good that we've been able to do this show and talk about all these lists that are done well, and there's been a lot of variety. 5 different skyports. Could have done 6. Could have done all 6 skyports. A variety of drops. Some things are 1 drop, some things are like mid 4 drops, some are high drop. There's melee lists, there's shooting lists. I think there's a good variety for KO at the moment. And my worry is what will end up happening is we'll get nerfed and then there'll just be 1 list.
Yeah, this is the Wild West at the moment. Everyone can test things and things are working. And yeah, when they nerf it, eventually, then we'll get the here's the one optimal list, and then everyone takes that.
Because if they really nerf a lot of the Thunderer builds, then a lot of people will just switch to the melee builds.
Yeah,
which are obviously already good still. So it's some questions in the chat. Don't Seraphon just wreck us? Well, some of these events go back to March. And Seraphon is literally just out now, so
Seraphon. I mean, in their current state,
they wreck us in the future.
But everything. But I don't think we're gonna see 50 mortal wounds make it to a tournament. I don't think that's gonna be a thing. If you take out that interaction, then Seraphon are actually relatively balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they hit hard in combat, but everything hits hard in combat. They're not actually that OP powerful. I think a quick fix that I think could be made to the Seraphon is basically limit the. You know how Cloak can cast spells, Slant can cast spells through other things,
and
just limit that to like spell portals. You can cast 1 spell through your ally, not 5 spells through your ally.
Yeah.
So you can't teleport that Skink Oracle up and then have it be a spell portal for Cloak.
Yeah.
Do Sylvaneth have the same restriction? Like they can only shoot? No, they can shoot as many spells as they want through their trees, can't they? But I think one spell per, like 1 forward cast per turn.
And the thing is,
fix a lot of Seraphon.
Sylvaneth did have the problem with the mortal wound bomb with spells before as well, didn't they? In the previous book,
Yeah.
But they had a problem with the guy with the wizard hero would just sit in the woods and then just do mortal wounds across the table all the time. So it seems to be a recurring problem with Games Workshop to keep allowing that sort of thing. Just like teleport and shoot lists quite often.
Yeah.
Get a bit silly as well, which we're seeing with KO at the moment. Not just with KO, to be fair, but
Seraphon, until they get a proper army book outside of their army box, are illegal in tournaments. You don't have to play them, and I think by the time they get a Seraphon, get their proper book, like with Slaves of Darkness and their 4-up rally on Vanguard and their multi-unit affecting Nurgle banners, I don't think Seraphon is going to exist in the way that they are now in tournaments at any point.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll wreck the casual scene, and then they'll,
yeah. What's your thoughts on KO going forwards, Krohn? In terms of, we're gonna get hit by nerfs, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. I kind of with Vince from Warhammer Week League in the way that I don't know how 4-up rallies probably shouldn't be a thing. They should probably be 5-ups.
Yeah, I mean, I personally haven't actually used the 4-up rally that much in my games. It's not been the reason I've won games. And I don't suspect that if you took the 4-up rally away from most of these KO lists, that they would suddenly drop.
Yeah,
and they go from 4-1s to 3-2s.
What would be like a quick FAQ or error to fix for this army, though? Like, I don't know.
I can think of one thing. It wouldn't fix every list, but make us pay points for the endless spell.
Oh yeah. That basically
straight away, a lot of lists then go up quite a lot of points, but not in a way that it ruins other lists.
Well, it basically means you can't take that unit of 10 Arcanauts that you were taking.
In this one, yeah, you lose a screen. In other ones, it basically means they're not getting their triumph. Depending, you could actually, now that they've opened the door of having different points for the KO version of the spell, actually just point those spells differently as well. Like just say Soul Screen Bridge in KO is 100 points.
They could. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tough. Like everything in KO is so good that you go, like I didn't even Thunderers. You change, get rid of some of the rend, the giving things rend abilities. You give the Thunderers less rend, like change their War Scroll again.
We're not going to do that. They could make the frigate thing that one unit can get out after the frigate charges, and that unit gets to fight first, and so you can't do. Not that MSU seems to be the popular way of doing it, but it means you can't get like 4 heroes out, and then you can get 1 out or something. But
because then even if it's only 1 unit, you got 6 riggers in a frigate. They and 1 character. The character gets out and punches something. The riggers also punch the thing because you pick a unit first.
Yeah. They could. There's obviously do things with points. I was just trying to think if they could do something with the timing with the rend buffs, but there's a very important reason why they're timed where they are, which is so that you can't just do it before you fly high.
Yeah, it's already pretty well timed.
Yeah, I mean Thunderers are probably going to go up because they're 135.
Thunderers could go up.
The thing is if they go up to 150. Are people going to use them anymore?
People are just going to go into the combat stuff.
Like, I mean, they go to 140. This list goes up to 20 points. So and you just lose it again. So you lose the Arcanauts.
And And I mean, I've got a if Thunders went up 250, this list would go up 60 points.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I got that wrong. I was thinking about if it went up to 140. I figured I was assuming it's a 5-point difference, but it's not. It's 15, isn't it? Yeah, so 60 points,
But still, you just lose 10.
100.
I mean, no,
140.
in this specific list, I just lose the third chemist. But
yeah, I mean that's a list that went 4-1. So, but a lot of lists sit like. I mean, this list 1940 points. It's got room to play.
If they went up to 150, it would literally just jump to a 2,000-point list.
Yeah, so I'm not sure really.
I don't know how they're going to fix KO. They probably do need to be fixed, but I don't know how. And until they figure it out, we're just going to keep winning. Because we have the best army now. Suck it.
I mean, one thing they could do is they can make frigates more points as well.
No, because frigates so good.
Frigates are the common denominator between the melee builds and the shooting builds. I mean, so yeah, people use ironclads as well, but there's normally quite often there's an ironclad and a frigate. So you put the frigate up to 320, you put the Thunderers up to 140, you make us pay for spanner ball, but you put chemists up to 100 points.
Yeah.
Navigator.
Yeah, they could just increase the points so that it's so elite. But at what point can you just not field an army anymore?
Well, I think the thing is, by the time you get 5 points here and there across pretty much everything in a list.
Yeah.
Well, not everything in a list. Like you don't need to put the ironclad up, but the admiral could go up to 130 points because he can't stay at around any on a 5. So that's 5 points. You put the navigator up, that's 10 points now in total. You put your Thunderers up, then that puts the list up.
It's another 20 points ish, 20 to 30 points depending.
Yeah, 20 to 30 points. And say the chemist goes up. Say they did change the end of spell, so you had to pay for it. Before you know it, you're getting to over 100 points added to the list.
Yeah,
but it's not oppressive. Like, yeah, you lose 100 points out of the list, but that means you lose like a screen or something. It doesn't nerf us completely into the ground.
Yeah.
But if they target all of the points onto one unit, it just nerfs that unit, and then no one uses that unit, and they, go to them. You switch to the melee build, don't you?
Yeah. And there's other builds that we haven't seen. Well, there's a build I'm coming up with that I'm going to use at my next tournament, which I think is going to be pretty good. Okay. So we'll see how that goes. Well, if it goes 4-1, then maybe we'll put it on.
Well, so it's not going to go 5-0. You're not that confident.
I still actually haven't won a tournament. I just go second. I come second at every tournament, but never first.
Okay.
4-1. That's the goal.
To be fair, 4-1 is an admirable goal for an admiral. Admirable.
But the Late Show with Lee and Krohn.
It sounds like you're being secretive on that list, Krohn. Do you want to tell us about it, or?
Look, anyone who's come an hour and 50 minutes into a video, sure.
I'm gonna edit it out and do a YouTube Shorts. You know that, right?
What?
And it's going to be like Kron's list for next week. And it's going to
say,
and I'm going to send it to everyone next week. The tournament.
It's like the 20th of May or something.
Well, they've got more time to see it then.
Okay, so it could be good. I think it'll be good, but it could also be absolute trash. It's 10 gun haulers and a ordinator. And then take 3 little heroes. So that's 20 shots at 24 inches. You can't screen that out. 20 shots, 3s and 2s, -2 damage D3 +1. It's a lot. And if that's what 24 inches. So, your turn 1, you go, okay, everything moves up slightly. And then shoot something behind their screens and hopefully kills it.
I'm sure I ran them I think I ran the math on something to do with that and dismissed it for some reason, but I can't remember why.
It's 100 wounds on a 3-up save. Like you can go and send one on little like side missions to take take objectives. If they get too close, you switch to carbines. At which point you have like 60 shots, 2s and 3s, and 1 damage 2. And then you fly over them and roll 40 dice, and every 4-up is a mortal wound.
Yeah, I think you're maybe missing how much space 10 of those models can take on the table, and they're probably not all going to be able to run over the same thing.
I set it up on TTS. They totally fit within the 9-inch bubble of the Ordinator.
Oh yeah, they fit. I mean, they fit, but they might not all be able to move and get within 12-inch range of like a little hero, or or fly over the same enemy unit.
You don't hit a little hero. You just you activate their 18-inch moves, and you just turbo boost over that big unit in front of you, and then mortal wound bomb it out of existence. You get to do the bombing run battle tactic.
Yeah. The other thing that just occurred to me, because you mentioned a big unit, is I think Soulblight Gravelords and OBR are going to be a bit difficult for KO. So maybe that will tone us down a bit, and we won't need a nerf. Okay.
They'll be the new kids on the block.
Yeah.
The Ordinator, you give him Tunnel Master so he can keep up with the gun haulers, and then you've got like a chemist. You put like a navigator with Stormcaller as your general, and then you've got like I think you can fit 2 navigators and a chemist or something like that.
Are you going to take 2 Ordinators?
No.
So you can spread them out and go to 2 different places, have 5 and 5, and because you could give one of them. You have one could have Tunnel Master and one can have the other thing. That name escapes me.
Because you can do a command entourage, yeah.
Yeah, because you could use it for the not for the Tunnel Master, the artifact one where it deploys off the board.
I was thinking just have you take a Voidstone Orb. Because you can sort of turn off their commander, turn off that one spell that you need to that gives them all a 5-up ward or something if you're playing doing that. It does so much damage at 24 inches. You cannot screen that out.
Okay. Does it do as much damage at 24 inches as some of the other armies that can shoot from 24 inches?
Now what, like 60 archers? I don't know, but it'll survive 60 archers because it's 100 wounds on a 3-up save, and you have to do 10 wounds to even to take out one of them. Before that, they'll be working at full capacity.
You know what has just occurred to me? That the only thing that could make KO a bit more obnoxious than it currently is would be if you could take gun haulers in units.
Yes, and then rally them on a 4-up.
Yes, and then rally a gun hauler back and get 10
and then your gun hauler comes back. You're like, yes, 170 points for free. What was the latest thing that was not? I think currently Bloodthirsters aren't single. There's like one of the Bloodthirsters. So currently, I think you can take a unit of Bloodthirsters.
Oh dear!
I remember when Feck used to, or Saltblight or Feck had they forgot the single keyword on the dragons or the Terrorgeists, and then you could actually, because there was a way to make them battle line, you could actually run units of 3 of those things, which was pretty nuts. It's funny when they forget the single keyword on something big.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like we're going on a massive tangent now, so we should probably just end the show.
This is the late show. We've done our thing. Now we're just
if we can time this right, and we can fill another 40 seconds of air, we can end it on exactly 2 hours. So
40 shows. So yeah.
Thank you for joining, Con. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. I need to talk slower because it's taking to not. No, this is not going to work.
Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon, and do all the YouTube things.
You have to punch the button or something. You can't just tap it. You gotta smash it.
You gotta shoot it with your ether carbine.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope everyone liked the show. If you want to see any of these lists without my mistakes, then go have a look on Best Coast Pairings or Stats and Ladders, and you can see all the other lists. I've gone over time. Sorry. Oh well. But thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.